It feels good to be on a winning streak, Bears fans, as the Chicago Bears have won 3 in a row, and now they've got the Saints coming to town. If you want to keep this thing going, this hot streak going, go ahead and hit that like button, because coming up next, we get into our Bears-Saints Week 7 preview. All right, I'm Harrison Graham. This is Chicago Bears Now. The Bears play at Soldier Field as they host the Saints this weekend. It's been a month since they've played at home, believe it or not. They played the Cowboys back in Week 3, Raiders Week 4, bye week at Washington, finally return home, then have 2 more road games against the Ravens and the Bengals. So only one game in like a 7-week stretch at Soldier Field. Kind of weird how the schedule fell this year. But Bears are 4.5-point favorites. It's actually dropped a point. They were 5.5-point favorites. The over-under for this one is set at 46.5 as we're filming this on Thursday morning. Take a look at some numbers for each team. The Bears, 10th in scoring, just over 25 points per game. That's refreshing. Like, if you told me they'd be 10th in scoring through 5 weeks, sign me up. Defense, still just 27th in points allowed, but again, that's a little skewed. If you take the 52-point drubbing to the Lions out of it, they held the Vikings to 27, Dallas to 14, the Raiders and the Commanders to 24. Those are all solid numbers that I'm good with. Turnover margin, this has been a big reason why they've been winning these games, +8, and that really started in that Dallas game. They've had 3 or more takeaways defensively the last few weeks. They haven't been giving away the ball for much either. That's tied for first with the Jags. Good on third down on both sides of the ball. So you look at the takeaways, you look at the third down, the key downs. They're doing a good job in situational football, which is a big reason for their success the last few weeks. You look at the Saints, just 28th in scoring, 18.5 points per game, 25th in points allowed at 26.7. They're good in takeaways too, though. They're +4 in the turnover margin. Spencer Rattler's not turning the ball over. They're not very good on third down, though. 21st in third down offense, 24th in third down defense. You take a look at the red zone now. This number's dipped for the Bears the last few weeks. They've settled for some field goals, so let's see if they can get back on track here. Still middle of the pack, 18th in the NFL. They score touchdowns 57% of the time once they get inside the 20. Defensively has also not been a big area, but they haven't allowed teams to get into the red zone too much in recent weeks, but hopefully they can clamp down more when they do. Saints just 29th in red zone touchdown offense, red zone touchdown rate, I should say. Also tied for 24th in touchdowns allowed in the red zone. 2/3 of the time when teams enter the red zone, they give up a touchdown. Okay, let's get to DJ Moore real quick. Yesterday's practice was, or it wasn't a practice, so it was an estimated injury report, physical game Monday night that went deep into the night. So they didn't go through a practice. So the injuries were estimates. We'll have a better picture later today and obviously tomorrow as well. So keep an eye on those injury reports. DJ Moore was listed as a DNP, though, so he would not have practiced had they practiced. He was one of 5 DNPs on the estimated injury report. Grady, Jarrett, also, and Bragg Biggs hinted this morning, we'll talk about this later during our live show, that he believes Jarrett had a little knee procedure. Now, he didn't go on short-term IR, so hopefully that means he'll be back soon, but that could be an explanation for why he hasn't practiced the last few weeks. Jonah Jackson with an ankle, not sure what happened there. Hopefully he's good to go today and this week. Cairo Santos with a thigh, and they did label it his right thigh. That's his kicking leg, so again, not a strong-legged kicker. If he's not 100%, I would guess it's Jake Moody again this week. And then Noah Sewell dealing with that concussion. Short week, I would doubt he plays on Sunday. Austin Booker and Travis Homer practiced in full, but they still have not been activated from short-term IR. They would have until, I believe, Saturday at 3 o'clock to put them on the 53. Again, if they do, they would have to make corresponding roster moves by cutting 1 to 2 players, depending on how many of these 2 they elevate, or put someone on IR. But again, I think if they were going to do that with someone like Grady Jarrett, they would have done that by now. So keep an eye on Booker, keep an eye on Homer. I would hope Austin Booker gets activated this week. Homer, I'm more indifferent about, although the special teams coverage unit, not very good last week, so maybe he could help in that regard. Okay, the Saints injury report. Alvin Kamara did not practice with an ankle, and they did go through a practice, so we'll see what he does today, if anything. Isaac Yiadom was also a DNP with the hamstring. Chris Olave limited with the hip. Alontae Taylor limited with the knee, and then John Ridgeway was full with that shoulder injury. All right, before we dive into this matchup a little bit more, take a look at who has the edge in some key areas. Week 7 sub battle, Bears now, Saints now. We've picked up 184 new subscribers this week. Saints now has picked up 66. Let's not rest on our laurels. Let's not overlook Saints now, just like the Bears shouldn't overlook the Saints. Let's keep the train rolling. If you want to win this competition, if you want free and daily Bears content from us here at Chicago Bears Now, go ahead and subscribe today. Okay, speaking of content, we'll be live this afternoon, 4 o'clock Central Time. Okay, head coach. Bears, both first-year head coaches, not Dennis Allen. Ben Johnson in the Bears, 3-2. Kellen Moore, 1-5. I do think Kellen Moore has impressed me. We'll kind of talk about that as the week goes and as this video goes. But, Ben Johnson was a stronger candidate coming in. I think he's proven to do a better job so far. But again, I have been impressed with Kellen. These are two guys that I think have a chance to stick and do really well. Okay, quarterback. I'll give the Bears the advantage here, but I wouldn't say it's as wide of a gap as you would think. In fact, in some areas, Spencer Rattler's actually been a little better. I would say on the underneath accuracy, Spencer Rattler's done a better job. And overall accuracy, he's certainly been more accurate this year. Now, they have run more of a quick passing, get the ball out underneath passing attack. We'll kind of analyze the explosives here in a second, which I think is making up for some of Caleb's accuracy issues. Obviously, they've leaned on Caleb more with over 235 passing per game. And remember, the Saints are trailing a lot, so just 202 passing per game, you would think that number would be higher. So again, you look at these numbers top to bottom, it is advantage Caleb Williams, but Rattler's actually impressed me. He's been accurate, especially on the underneath and intermediate passes, so I give him a lot of credit for that. I think Kellen Moore's doing a nice job with him, but I think really where the Bears' offense as a whole, but Caleb has separated himself from a guy like Spencer Rattler this season is the explosive plays, which are defined as 10-plus yard runs, but in this case, 20-plus yard passes. When you're talking from a passing game standpoint, Caleb's connected on 17 of those. Rattler's only hit on 6. And some of the downfield accuracy issues with Rattler have been evident. There were a couple plays last week that they missed out on. But I think Ben Johnson's done a nice job of scheming things up. And as we've talked about this season, Caleb's done a better job of connecting downfield. Okay, skill set, guys. For this year, what we've seen, on paper, it's the Bears. I actually think the Saints are getting good production, though, from their skill guys. So right here, right now, I'll call it a push. Don't get me wrong. I would take the Bears group every single time, but Juwan Johnson at tight end's been more productive than either of the Bears tight ends. Their running back room of Alvin Kamara and Kendre Miller has been pretty good. Swift had a good game last week, but before last week, had not been that productive. Wide receivers, they do have Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed. I would for sure give the Bears the advantage, even based on what we've seen so far at receiver. But the other two position groups have been better for New Orleans. So I'll call it a push overall. I would expect as the year goes on, the Bears would be the better group. But the Saints skill guys have actually been pretty good. Offensive line, Bears, although the Saints O-line is not bad. Kelvin Banks has done some nice things as a rookie. Trevor Penning's been better at guard than he was at tackle early in his career. Fuaga at right tackle is a pretty good player as well. Cesar Ruiz can play. So Saints have, I would say, at least a league average offensive line. But the Bears last couple of weeks, especially on Monday night, I thought really did some good things. Theo Benedict, I think, has been a nice upgrade at left tackle. Okay, let's go defense now. Defensive line, I'll go the Saints. I think this is the strength of their team. Cameron Jordan is still good. Chase Young just came back, but he had a really nice game. I thought with him healthy, that's a huge boost for New Orleans. They have a couple of defensive tackles. Bressee's been pretty solid for them, the former first-round pick. Bears played better last week on their defensive line, but I think if you added up all 5 of their games so far, that defensive front's been the biggest weakness for Chicago. Hopefully they can build off the Washington game. I'll give the Saints the edge in this spot. Linebackers, it's close. Demario Davis is awesome. They don't really have another linebacker I like, though, so what I saw, only one game, but with TJ and Tremaine both on the field, I thought they were excellent together. I will give the Bears the slight advantage, but you could probably say, and I think it would still be true, the 36-year-old Demario Davis is the best linebacker in this game, but I like the Bears group a little bit better. Secondary, definitely Bears in my opinion, especially if Alontae Taylor can't play. Really like how this group's playing. Nashawn Wright hasn't been great, but outside of that, safeties are playing well. The last couple weeks, Brisker had a nice pick. Tyreek Stevenson's been really good. Got beat the one time on the double move, but like how he's playing, so I'd give that to the Bears. And then special teams to the Bears as well, although the coverage units have not been great, at least on kickoff. I think punt's been fine, but Jake Moody kicked the ball well last week. Groupie's been kind of inconsistent for the Saints, and the Saints punter has not been very good at all. He's been one of the worst ones in the league. So overall, I'll lean Bears, but I still don't love the complete facet of how the special teams are playing right now. Okay, what is your confidence level in a Bears win on Sunday? Because on paper, when the schedule came out, you highlight this game as like this is a must-win. You cannot afford to slip up against the New Orleans Saints. So scale it from 1 to 10. I'll go 7-9. I don't think this is a game you sleep on New Orleans. They are scrappy. They are competitive. If you don't play well, they are capable of winning. But I feel good about how the Bears are playing right now. I do feel pretty solid. I'll have a score prediction at the end of the show. Okay, we are sponsored by Mando. Fellas, the men's odor, you gotta get it under control, and you can do so with Mando right now. Limited time only. Get 20% off all of their products with code CHAT at checkout. Fall is here. Football is in full swing, and if you're like me, and you're a fella, it's the best time of year. Also, if you're a dad like me and your son's running around outside, I'm running around chasing them, hanging out, and sometimes that leads to sweat, and that's where Mando comes in. Don't let the body odor sideline you. Mando deodorant plus sweat control is for real working guys. Mando is formulated to stop odor before it starts and doesn't mask odor with overwhelming fragrance. Mando has several awesome products, from the deodorant wipes, spray deodorant, stick deodorant, and much more. Best part is that Mando's products are safe from head to toe. Check this out. With one swipe, you're good to go. This isn't your typical deodorant. It's clinical strength, 2 times better at controlling sweat than the standard. It controls both sweat and odor for 72 hours. And after just 12 hours, underarm sweat was reduced by 92%. This stuff works. Mando's starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with the solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice like mini body wash and deodorant wipes, and free shipping. As a special offer for our listeners, new customers get 20% off site-wide with our exclusive code. That is code CHAT, C-H-A-T, at shopmando.com. You get 20% off site-wide plus free shipping. That's shopmando.com. Shopmando.com. Please support our show. Tell them we sent you. Use code CHAT. Mando's got you covered. Protect your pits. Smell great doing it. All right, Dennis Allen, revenge game. We love to overplay these things, right? But these guys are competitors. Dennis Allen's a competitor. He wants to win this game, right? Like, he wants to embarrass that Saints offense. There's no doubt about it. He's going to want to control this game with the Bears defense. And I think the Bears have an advantage here because the Saints offensive personnel is really similar. They haven't made a lot of wholesale changes. They drafted Tyler Shuck, but he didn't win the job. So it's Spencer Rattler, who was the guy at the end of last year. Dennis Allen knows him very well. They drafted Kelvin Banks, so there's a new left tackle there, but the running backs are the same, Alvin Kamara and Kendre Miller. Chris Olave, Rashid Shaheed are the primary receivers. Juwan Johnson's the primary tight end. Like, that's the core group that they have had. I mean, the only big change, again, is Kelvin Banks is now in the mix at left tackle. Sure, new scheme, new opponent, whatever, in terms of Kellen Moore taking over, but Dennis Allen is going to know the strengths and weaknesses of these guys pretty darn well. So I think the Bears have an advantageous position in that regard. And Dennis Allen is going to empty the chamber, if you will, to try and continue this takeaway streak and obviously have his defense play well against his former team. All right, some keys to victory. Let's get Caleb into a rhythm. I thought early on last week, outside of 1 or 2 missed throws in the first quarter, you kind of started that. I was like, okay, he's coming out of the bye, playing pretty well, throwing on time, on target. He missed that one to Zacchaeus where Zacchaeus sat in the hole of the zone. He led him. That was kind of a miscommunication, but overall, early on, got into a flow. Then that second quarter kind of got wonky. Third quarter was up and down. Thought he finished well in the fourth quarter, but I'm looking for more of a complete game here from Caleb. Against a good defensive front, but I think a secondary where you can find some matchups. And obviously, we know Ben Johnson's been dialing it up. This isn't like a teardown of Caleb. I like where he's at. But if we can clean up some of the accuracy issues throughout the flow of the game, I think sometimes he gets a little revved up, and that's totally understandable for that Washington game. Returning home, hasn't played in the game in 15 days, primetime Monday Night Football, everything that happened last year. This is a more calm, comfortable environment, you would think, back home at Soldier Field for the first time in a month. So I think he will play better. I'm looking for Ben to get him some easy completions early and kind of get him into the flow of the game. Okay, contain Alvin Kamara. He's only averaging 3.8 yards per carry, but he still is very capable. He's got over 430 all-purpose yards this season. Just one touchdown, but we know if this guy's in space, he makes one guy miss, he can really go. I think of that Dallas game last year in week 2 when he just went crazy. So he's obviously a guy that you always have to account for. So hopefully Dennis Allen, again, has a good game plan for him because he's the one guy. I mean, they've got Olave, Shaheed can beat you over the top, but Kamara, a guy who's going to get consistent touches, he's the one guy that can really change a game more frequently within this offense than anybody else. Okay, number 3, I want to see more Luther Burden. And this isn't just for this game, but moving forward. 15 snaps last week. He led all receivers in receiving. 4 catches for 51 yards. He's catching the ball more than 25% of the snaps he's playing last week. So that tells me when he's out there, he's causing problems. It's up to the Bears to find a way to get him even more involved. Now, again, and I've said this, and I'm sure there's probably some truth to this, Alontae Zaccheaus is a vet. Luther Burden missed most of the offseason program before and even the first week or so of training camp. Zaccheaus is going to understand the offense and just little nuances of the game probably a little bit better than Luther Burden, but that doesn't mean Burden can't eat into those snaps a little bit more. It shouldn't be like an 80-20 split. Let's get it down to 70-30. Let's get it down to 60-40 and eventually 50-50. And by the end of the season, you're hoping it flips. You're hoping Burden is playing more snaps than OZ. And look, we don't know if DJ Moore is even going to play in this game. So if he doesn't, then he's probably going to have a full-time role in this matchup. So I want him to play more and more because we've seen how dangerous he can be with the ball in his hands as a route runner. He's actually been better than I thought as a route runner, so I'm excited with where he's at, and he can help generate more explosives than the Bears have already. Okay, keep running behind the offensive tackles. We talked about this earlier this week. Ben Johnson finding an adjustment in the run game, leaning into more outside zone, toss crack, getting those guards to pull out and obviously getting those tackles in space. And DeAndre Swift had a breakout game in this offense doing it. Over 7 yards per carry at 7.7. Got loose on a couple of catches as well, including, as Troy Aikman would call it, the lucky 55-yard touchdown. Last time I'm going to mention Aikman, hopefully this season, but they have found something here. Now it's one game. We'll see if it carries over, but I like leaning into the outside zone more. Doesn't mean you can't run between the tackles. Doesn't mean you have to stop that completely. You're still going to have to get some tough runs, and maybe that's where Monungai and Roschon come in more. But I thought Darnell Wright and Theo Benedict created some big lanes. The guards were pulling, doing a good job as well. So hopefully that continues. And then lastly, the theme of the week: focus, focus, focus. This is a textbook letdown spot. You're returning home. Oh, the Saints are 1-5. Pay attention. This is not a bad 1-5 team, if that makes sense. They're not a good team in the grand scheme of the NFL, but they're good for being 1-5. They could easily be 3-3, very easily. They have been in every single game except for one. They hammered the Giants a couple weeks ago, who just hammered the Eagles. Like, this is not a team. This isn't, not to pick on our former quarterback. This isn't the Jets. This isn't even like the Browns or the Titans. Browns defense is at least pretty good. The Titans are a joke. The Saints are not a bad team. They had the ball multiple times down 7 in the fourth quarter against Arizona. They lost by 5 to the 49ers. Seahawks game got away from them. Buffalo, though, that game was 24-19 in the fourth. Buffalo had a late touchdown. They beat the Giants, and last week they went toe-to-toe with the Patriots pretty much that entire game. Like, this is not a game. You show up lackadaisical, get behind early, play a C-plus game, you'll lose. Now, you don't have to play your A game probably. If you play a B-level game, you should win this game. You're a better team, more talent, all that stuff. You're at home. But you come out, play bad, play your worst game of the year, you will lose. There are teams that you can play a C-level game. There's a couple in this league that you could beat. This isn't one of them. Like, this is a team that will beat you if you do not show up. So got to focus, got to lock in, short week, get the bodies right, all that stuff. And I trust this coaching staff to make sure that happens. We know Dennis Allen's going to be motivated, so hopefully there's no lapses in energy, because if there is, this game could be tight in the fourth quarter, and I don't know if we want that for a third week in a row. It would be nice if this was more of a straightforward victory. All right, predict the score. Chicago Bears, New Orleans Saints. Should be a fun one at Soldier Field on Sunday. Also kind of glad, just get back in that noon Central time slot for a few weeks here. That'll be nice. I'm going 27-19 Bears. I don't think the Bears will just, dominate, but I think they'll be focused enough and play well enough back at home where we're not completely sweating this one out. I think the Bears will have a somewhat comfortable victory here, but I respect the Saints. I like what I've seen. Rattler's playing pretty well, like I said. Kellen Moore has things going. Brandon Staley actually hasn't been bad as a defensive coordinator for them. That defensive line's playing really well. So got to be on your P's and Q's. Give me the Bears 27-19. You guys drop your scores down in the comments below. My name is Harrison Graham. We will be live this afternoon, 4 o'clock Central Time. So be sure to subscribe and join us. Turn on those notifications so you know exactly when we do go live. We'll see you this afternoon. Bear down.